What's up, YouTube? This is part 3 of my gas fireplace insert video series. If you haven't done so already, please go back and check out my first 2 videos. In this video, we're going to be building a wall to make this flush with the fireplace here on the front side, and it'll connect to this back wall here on the sides. So let's get started. Alright guys, I think you can see this pretty good. So what I went ahead and done was mark the floor where my board's going to go for the wall. The one bottom plate of the wall will go here. This is just the example piece. It'll actually go all the way over. Just take off about 3/4 of an inch just to give myself room if I need to take this out or in ever in the future. And what I went ahead and did right here, this top mark is not right. I originally marked it off for 1/2 inch, but that was wrong because I didn't take into account for this piece here. This piece sticks off the front of the heater about 1/4 inch, and what this piece does is covers up the gap for whenever you get the heater put in, and it goes over the whatever kind of wall covering you're going to use. So whenever you put your heater in, take that into account if that does stick off, or if you have the piece like that. So what I've done is I backed this off 1/4, and this piece right here sticks off of the heater 1/4 inch. I don't know if you can see that gap. So that's about 1/4 inch. So in total that makes 1/2. Well, my boards are 1/2. My plank pallet boards I'm going to be using. So that'll make it just right for it to work right here on the front of the wall here. On this side of the wall over here, I've also taken off 1/4 or 1/2 inch, and that's to account for the drywall I'm going to use on the side, or sheetrock. So that's what my game plan is. So I'm going to finish measuring this stuff, and then I'm going to cut my boards. I'm not going to tell you any measurements because your project's probably going to be different than mine, so I don't want to confuse anybody. But just take that stuff into account whenever you're measuring. YouTube, something else I want to talk about, and I forgot to mention a second ago. I'm just keeping it square. This wall here, I'm basing the line for this wall off of the wall I already have. But if you're building a new wall and you need to find out a straight line, you can do something that's called the Pythagorean theorem. Basically, if you have a triangle, let's just use this right here as an example. What the Pythagorean theorem is a squared, or a times a, and then plus b squared, or b times b, will equal c squared, or c times c. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and that's if you have a right angle triangle. So what that means, and there's a simple way to do it, it's called the 3, 4, 5 method. So you can take and measure 3 inches, 3 feet, well, it don't matter. Then times that times 2, or times itself, or not times 2, but times itself. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus g squared, or times itself. The 4, and 4 squared is 16. Equals, and then this is 5 squared. It's called the 3, 4, 5 method, and it equals 25. So 9 plus 16 equals 25. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if you're trying to find out a straight line, just say you measure off a wall, you can measure off of it 3 feet. You can measure down 4 feet. To see if this line is straight, make sure it's not off one way or another. The distance from here to here will be 5 feet, or 5 inches. And I'll just leave it at that. That's the simplest way to do it right there. I don't want to confuse you any further. But basically it's called 3, 4, 5. And it'll take a couple tape measures, 2 or 3 tape measures to do it. Let me pull one this way, at 3 foot, one that way at 4 foot, and intersect right at 3 foot. and you pull another one across the 2 right at that point to right at the 4-foot point. It should be 5 foot there, and that's how you tell if this line here is straight. But I'm just basing mine off of just using a square off to here. I just wanted to tell you guys that. It might help you out. If it confuses you, just fast forward past this part and disregard it. Okay, so I got all my boards cut to length. I've kind of made a mock-up on the floor of the wall. This is generally how you want to build a wall, is put on the floor like this. I'm only going to build mine in a section at a time. As you can see, this is just the front section that goes on the one side of the fireplace. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't have a lot of space in here to stand up a whole wall. Basically, this is the bottom plate here. This part right here will go right beside the heater, and this represents the header that will go over the heater. I'm probably going to double it up and put another piece behind that there. And this is the top plate up here, and I purposely left it shorter, the top part shorter, because I'm going to set the middle section's top plate right here to kind of tie it all in together. So I'm going to get started screwing this together, and then we'll stand it up and try to get at least half of it built so I can show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so as you guys can see, I've got all the boards screwed together, to make the walls. And like I said before, I built it in actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. So I built the walls on either side of the heater. The wall, part of the wall that comes off the existing wall to the new wall on each side, and then I'll have another section in the middle I'm going to kind of piece together here in a second. So basically all I did, the pieces I had on the floor earlier, this was laying flat earlier in the video, so I just put screws in the bottom. Right now it's on the bottom side, but earlier would have been on this side. I put 2 screws in each one of these studs on the bottom. And on this one, at the ends, I put a couple screws in it, and then up it I put a screw, kind of staggered them back and forth all the way up, and then put 2 at the top. And like I said earlier, I'm going to leave the top part open to put a top plate on to connect this half and this half, and they'll make it sturdier doing that. So basically all you got to do when you assemble a wall like this, I couldn't really film myself doing it, I couldn't get the angle right. You just make sure that the ends are flush. Make sure the ends are flush. And then usually you'd want to do boards 16 on center, which means you measure 16 over, and you mark it, and you want to put your board 3/4 inches back off of that, so the edge of it will actually be 16, and the middle of it would be 15 1/4. So that's how you do 16 on center. So the next part of the video, next thing I'm going to do is assemble this. And all I'm going to do is attach this part here, the short part, to the existing wall, and then I'm going to attach the larger part to here. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to use a level to make sure. When you're making sure something's level, you want the bubble to be in the middle. So if it's to the left, you want to go to the left to get it right, and you keep going until it's exactly in the middle. And that's level right there. So that's where we want to be at, when we're putting our wall up. And by doing that, you make sure your wall is straight up and down, and it makes it easier when you're doing for the next steps, like as far as finishing, and it makes it look better as well. So don't skimp on that part. Just make sure you get your level and actually level that. So I'll be back, and when I come back I should have this wall at least the 2 sides put together, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to attach the middle part together. So right now what I'm going to do, I've got all my boards cut. I'm going to put my header here over the fireplace. I'm going to connect the top plate there. I'm going to double that up with another piece below it just to keep it sturdy. Then I'm going to assemble my 2 boards here in the middle. And those 2 boards here in the middle is going to serve as a place to screw a TV into, like a TV mount. And it'll pretty much center up the middle of the room. And I'll probably move this plug in here to the front right behind the TV to keep all the wires hidden. So it'll actually make everything look a lot better and cleaner whenever I'm done. So that's what I'm going to do now. Let's get my boards in here. Alright, so I've got all my pieces assembled, or pre-assembled. Got my header here, top plate that's pre-assembled here, and I've got the two other boards going to go in the middle. So right now we're going to start putting things together. We're going to start by using the header first. It should slide right in with the assistance of a hammer. Now we're going to screw that in place. Put a couple screws in each board. Now we're going to put our top plate in. Now I've got the top plate put in and the header put in. I'm going to put the two vertical boards in right now. I've already got it pre-marked. I marked them before I put them in. Save myself some time. Okay, so I finished putting the vertical boards up, and I finished the header and the upper top plate. The only thing I'm going to probably do from here as far as finishing the framing is I'm going to attach a couple boards from the back wall to this wall just to give it some vertical stability. But other than that, I'm finished with this part. So check out part 4. I'll be actually finishing the wall with pallet board and then finishing the sides with the drywall.